What's up, you guys? Welcome back to PCTM, to the Pop Culture Time Machine, your favorite old school show. Every movie fan has his favorite franchise, and especially nowadays when it's so hard to keep track, especially because of the Marvel franchises, it seems like back in the days, franchises had a bigger meaning. Yes, that's an old school guy hating. My favorite franchise of all time gotta be the Rocky franchise, and in this video, I'm gonna rank the Rocky movies. So, let's go! I'm going to start off my list with my least favorite movie of the franchise, which is Rocky V. And here it comes. I still enjoyed that movie. And even though it's definitely the weakest of the franchise, it still has some cool elements. Real-life boxer Tommy Gunn plays his role perfectly. But of course, the film doesn't have such a cool soundtrack and would have been way cooler to see Sly in the ring again.
Man, I've been seeing this kid coming up on ESPN. This guy's like knocking dudes out straight. I mean, he can bang. Good-looking, handsome, blonde-haired kid.
Tommy Gunn later turns against his mentor, and the two face off, not in a climactic boxing match, but in a vicious street brawl.
I ask most people, the diehard Rocky fans, I go, why don't you like Rocky V? Because he didn't fight in it. There's a street fight. He didn't fight, in the ring. That's what bothered a lot of people.
He had fought in the ring 4 times. I thought this was a really good idea, fighting in the street.
It was interesting, but I think it was anticlimactic compared to the other fights, and that was a mistake on my behalf. I thought it might have worked, but once I saw the fight, I went, no. There's a certain kind of pageantry.
And the next entry on my list is Rocky IV with Dolph Lundgren, aka Ivan Drago. I actually like every single Rocky movie, so it's really hard to place them in the right order. The only reason why I got this movie on position number 6 is because the story isn't that good. I mean, this movie basically consists of 80% of training montage, which I love. I love the training montages. But okay, if you want to be objective, this is a weaker movie than the other entries, but still a good movie.
If possible, we would like to have an exhibition bout with your famous champion Rocky Balboa.
I just want to show the whole world that Russia doesn't have all the best athletes. It's time to go to school.
You will lose.
Stop the noise!
I'm going to stop this fight, no matter what.
If he dies, he dies. Again, it's a philosophical message, or a pretty blatant message, that don't keep beating your head against the wall and trying to compete against something that's more physical, more powerful, and more deadly than you are.
Rocky tried to tell you, leave that Russian alone. This dude is a bad man.
That bad man is a machine-tooled villain, Ivan Drago, the ultimate product of Soviet technology. To play him, Stallone would find a diamond in the rough. A Swedish student, model, and karate champion turned actor, Dolph Lundgren.
I came to America to study chemical engineering at MIT in Boston. I got into acting, and one of the first castings I went to was for some boxing movie. I came up to a table, and there's a girl sitting there with a bunch of papers, and it turned out to be Sasha Stallone. It was Sly's wife at the time. I didn't know that, but she just didn't even look up. She just said, "How tall are you?" I said, 6'4". She said, "Too tall, next." And I was like, wait a second. 6 months later, when I was in Europe, somebody called me on the phone, and he was out of breath. Some PA from Paramount, like, "Oh, thank God I found you. Sly was going to kill me." I met Stallone at Paramount, and he said, "Yeah, I saw your pictures, you look good." And I told him I was a fighter and all this. And then he showed me all of these binders of, 8x10s of other guys. There were like 5,000 guys up for the role. And I was like, oh, I'll never get it.
But Lundgren became a finalist and made it back for a screen test, where he experienced the full force of the Rocky machine.
There was about 50 people behind camera. You could kind of hardly see him back there. There was Sly, his bodyguards, and a bunch of guys in suits. And I was there, knowing that, okay, this is it. I did my monologue. I decided to play the guy very kind of cold and collected, not to move too much, just to kind of play the interior like a Soviet officer, because, it has that stance with the high chin and everything. 2 days later, Sly called me in New York. He got the role.
We gotta remember that this movie actually came out in the peak of the Cold War, so definitely a different time, which is also the reason why Sly Stallone's speech didn't age too well. But still, if we're talking about a popcorn movie, this is the perfect example of one. This movie was Dolph Lundgren's first major role, and I think he still did a decent job, even though he didn't have to say much. He definitely did a good job. So this is my number 6. And the next entry on my list is Rocky 3. And I gotta be honest, this one actually hurts. Why? Because this list is supposed to be the best Rocky movies, so in order from the worst to the best, and not a list on what movies I actually enjoy the most. Because if it would be that list, Rocky 3 would definitely be on a higher position. Rocky 3 is the perfect example how you see the popcorn cinema movie in the 1980s. Great soundtrack, enjoyable stories, a fallen hero that has to fight his way up to the top. I can watch this movie any day and I still will enjoy it.
Philadelphia salutes its favorite son, Rocky Balboa.
They don't want a man like me to have the title because I'm not a puppet like that fool up there.
You know, you got a big mouth.
I'm telling you and everybody here, I'll fight him anywhere, anytime, for nothing.
There was good fighters, but they wasn't killers like this guy.
Dead meat.
Look, man, when you beat me, I heard all over, and I didn't want to know from nothing or nobody, not even my kids. We held the greatest title in the whole world, eh? You had that eye of the tiger, edge. And now you gotta get it back. And the way to get it back is to go back to the beginning. You know what I mean?
Do you accept the challenge for a rematch with Balboa?
Balboa is no challenge, but I'll be more than happy to beat up on him some more.
For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
I'm afraid too.
Come on, harder. Kick it hard. Hit it harder. Come on.
I just love Rocky 3, and especially Mr. T. To me, he's the greatest villain in the entire movie, and yes, not the best actor, and he also didn't have the best fights in the movie, but I just love this crazy guy. Pity the fool. And the next movie on my list is Creed 1. This was also a very tough one, especially comparing Creed 1 to Creed 2. When the movie was announced, I was really excited. Why? Because I didn't want the Rocky franchise to end, but I had no idea how the franchise could continue. So when I heard that the franchise was called Creed, I was really happy because that was such a great idea, and the movie did everything right. They took the franchise in a different direction without losing the soul of the original ones. Michael B. Jordan was a great cast, and Rocky still has a very important part of the plot, which is very important to me. So this movie is definitely a good movie, and I'm really, really happy for the entire Creed franchise.
See this guy here? That's the toughest opponent you're ever going to have to face. I believe that's true in the ring, and I think that's true in life. Now show me something.
And the next entry on my list is Rocky 2. This is unbelievable. You gotta remember that these movies are like 40 years old and still watchable, not only from a story standpoint, but acting-wise, music-wise. If these ain't classic movies, what is? Rocky 2 takes the character into a different direction, actually showing how Rocky is struggling with the fame, being broke again and everything, and you want to cheer for Rocky and you want Rocky to win, even though you don't even dislike Apollo Creed. So it's a great mixture, and that movie definitely is also one of the best boxing movies of all time, period.
I just want to say one thing to my wife who's home. Yo, Adrian!
And the next movie on my list is Creed 2. And I know that this is the point where many of you guys disagree, but I explained to you guys why I put Creed 2 ahead of Creed 1. Because being an old school Rocky fan, of course you want to see Ivan Drago back. And of course you want to see his son battling against Apollo Creed's son. When I heard about the story, I was freaking out. Seriously, I was freaking. I was super excited going to the cinema because I've never expected to see Dolph Lundgren in a Rocky movie again. And even Brigitte Nielsen. That was awesome. And the biggest reason why I got this movie so high on my list is simply the ending. The ending was the perfect ending, how you can end a movie with having your main guy winning, but also making you feel good about the opponents. So, believe it or not, I'm actually going to watch that movie after this video. And the next movie on my list is Rocky Balboa. And I'm aware of that many of you guys will disagree again, but I really, really like this movie so much. Why? Because just like with the first movie, this is the real underdog story. I love the story, I love the acting. To me, Stallone plays the broken Rocky so well, you feel so sad for him, and it's just overall a really, really great movie with one of the best speeches ever.
You ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you.
You're better than that!
And the last entry, and of course my number one, is Rocky 1. There's so many reasons why this movie is actually one of the best movies of all time, and I'm dead serious. This movie not only defined an entire generation, even until today, but this movie set the standard for boxing movies, for training montages, inspiring so many guys going to the gym, inspiring so many people to go for their goals, reaching their dreams and everything. This movie had so many iconic scenes like Rocky running through the city, Rocky running up the stairs. This movie is simply a masterpiece. Alright you guys, that was my list. I know you probably disagree with a couple of my picks, but still that's just my personal opinion. You can also post your personal opinion in the comments below, and I hope I see you guys next time.